G'day, I'm Greg Newman, People Analytics Product Manager at TrustSphere. At TrustSphere, we've taken traditional survey-based organizational network analytics and we've supercharged it to work in a corporate environment. Our technology scrapes the metadata of corporate communication systems like email, instant message, and telephone, and uses our algorithms and machine learning to map out the network of relationships that employees use to create value in the organization. Today, we're going to talk to you about how one of our customers is using this data to improve employee transitions when someone leaves and employee onboarding when someone joins. I think all of us have been victim of a poor onboarding when we've joined a company and we're basically given a laptop and a pass and told where the lunchroom is and left to go into it. And probably more than a few of us have also been responsible at the other end when we've left a role, we've given a fairly basic transition or handover, left scant information on what we were doing and who we were doing it with. So I think this is one area that organizational network analytics can provide a really simple application of that network data to support transforming two traditionally very weak processes for organizations. And one of the reasons that it's very difficult is that knowing what relationships we have and what relationships are currently active and what pieces of work are associated with them is very difficult. And what you're looking at here is how we've solved that problem. So you can see here every relationship that I've built since I joined TrustSphere about 3.5 years ago. So what you're seeing is every connection, every time a connection turns into a relationship, eventually when this little GIF stops, you'll see that I've got about 880 relationships, which is well above an average employee who's got about 100, but mainly based on my role. But knowing how many relationships I have and which relationships are strongest is one of the keys for me being able to do a good transition when I leave a role. So what we've created at TrustSphere is this very simple transition report. So either HR or a manager can run this report and quickly see for a departing employee where their relationships are. And this gives a really good structure for the manager and the employee to do an effective transition. So you can see at the top of the report, it shows a summary of my network, the number of relationships I have. I've changed the names of everyone here to protect the innocent. But if we look in the detail of the report, we can see the organization I have relationships with. We can see the names of the people. The type refers to what type of interaction it is, email, instant, or telephone. And then the trust score, which is our algorithm to measure the strength of relationship. Then we have a little bit of reporting and analytics data there to explain a little bit about the context, the heat, and the volumes of communication. So now when I sit with my manager, I can do a very structured transition to make sure that none of these critical relationships are lost. But often the question comes up about who should these relationships be transferred to. And so we've built a little tool called Links Within that enables us to focus in on one person and see who else in the organization has relationships with them. So for example, if we choose Sarah Rasmussen there, if we run Links Within, we can see that my alter ego Rosalie has a strong and active relationship with it. But there's only one other person in our organization who has a relationship with Leslie. And that's a weak relationship with not very frequent contact. So that's, to the manager, that's a great warning signal that that relationship with Sarah, unless Leslie steps in and builds it up, that relationship with Sarah is likely to walk out the door when I leave. So that's how we can use organizational network analytics to increase the effectiveness of employee transitions. Now I'd like to hear a short video from one of our customers who's going to explain to you how they're using it at the point of onboarding when someone joins the company.
Ramco is about $70 million company. We have about 1,600 plus people, offices all over the world, most of the important countries. Ramco is a high technology company involved in offering solutions in the ERP space and HCM space. There are many business processes in which we find TrustSphere useful, especially onboarding a salesperson or before a salesperson leaves. The TrustSphere's transition report helps the person to come to speed with the complete client interactions. Within the company, outside the company, all the interactions, all the key people they need to deal with is all available in the transition report, because the new joinee will know the thickness of the connections, will let them know which employees are the most relevant for them to deal with and which customers are the hottest ones or the biggest relationship that we have. So the handover is much more rigorous. People do not work on memory anymore. So what will take typically 3 to 6 months for an employee to be coming to speed with happens in a week with Ramco, and courtesy TrustSphere onboarding transition report.
So I think the key data point there that's come out of this case study is that at Ramco, using this data to onboard their new salespeople, they're effectively using the report to give their salespeople a territory map, showing them very early on in their time at the organization who are all the relationships that they're going to need if they're going to continue selling as well as or better than their predecessor. And this case study, actually, it's just been published by Ramco, by Deloitte. We're very proud of that. So there's some simple examples of the application of organizational network analytics to transform business processes. Thanks very much for your time.